Okay, it is Monday, and we're going to talk a little bit about this past week's Smackdown and NXT. And that sounds like it's going to be the regular from now on. It sounds like, unless there's a pay-per-view to talk about, NXT and Smackdown will be your video for Monday. And of course, tomorrow will be your Raw video, and then Wednesday we're going to talk TNA Impact. Thursday night, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. It actually might be another Impact. I actually might try to do it live or right after a broadcast if possible. I guess I'll see what I can do about that. But it just kind of depends. We don't have a movie this week because we're not going to Transformers until Friday. So I got to be up like super early on Friday morning so we can watch Transformers, get it out of the way, and then we have a lot of filming to do because if you are a regular pop viewer, or if you're not, I should let you know that we are very wrestling heavy on this channel. Obviously, we're very Halloween Horror Nights heavy on this channel. Another thing we're really heavy on is movies. Obviously, we have AJ's movie reviews on Friday, and we have our Versus segments on Saturday. And that will be no different this week. Now, there's also going to be a potential spoiler alert for Transformers coming up on maybe Saturday, probably Saturday. You might get double up video because obviously Saturday is Ashley's day. And once Ashley's video comes to me, usually comes around really late Thursday night, I will put that video up for you guys on Saturday, and you're also probably going to get a spoiler alert on Saturday. And this coming week, we are going to be doing something we did last year and something we're going to do again this year, and that is the best and worst of the half year and our most anticipated films for the duration of 2014. Very much looking forward to that video, and I had a great time with it last year. AJ had a great time with it last year, so look forward to that this coming week as well. So a lot of content coming up on Pop. And don't forget, next Sunday is WWE Money in the Bank. So obviously I'm going to be recapping that for the channel. Sunday night the video will be up, and probably by early Monday morning. So look for that next week. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen with the NXT and Smackdown video for next week, but I'll work it out and we'll obviously do that. So, excuse me. I'll try not to do that as much as I can. It's a strange change in temperature, to be totally honest, lately. It's kind of like, it's fluctuating between being like super hot, and then I'm just chilling out in the house and I don't have anything really to do. I haven't really worked because I've been off. So because of that factor, I have let the atmosphere get to my sinuses, and that's probably why I made the snort. I apologize for that. Let's talk NXT. NXT from last Thursday night starts off with Natalya, and Natalya is in the back, and she is talking to JBL. Of course, JBL is in charge of NXT, and she wants to help Tyson Kidd, obviously. She wants to help her husband out. So by doing so, she came up with a brilliant idea to pair him with Sami Zayn in a tag team. JBL's like, okay, fine, Natty, I'll take that under consideration, and that's how we start off the show. So we get our first match of the evening, the adorable Alexa Bliss, and she is facing off against the boss, Sasha Banks, and she is flanked by the NXT Women's Champion, Charlotte, as well as the gorgeous Summer Rae in her corner. Obviously, there's been some trouble in paradise lately between the former BFFs. I guess you could say they're still together for now, but I know it's a slow burn that they're going to be splitting sooner rather than later, and Summer Rae is definitely going to become the babyface out of that group. But it's really strange because what she did on SmackDown this week, which I'll talk about in a little bit, did not seem very babyface-like. So, who knows? Anyone's guess what we're going to have from that. So we have Alexa Bliss against Sasha Banks. This match is short, but it wasn't bad for what it was. I really like Alexa Bliss. She's adorable. And I love her pseudo-Tinkerbell gimmick. And we go midway through this match, and midway through is just a few minutes in. She goes for Pixie Hollow and only gets a 2 off of it, which of course is the satellite into the small package. And a drop kick charges into a nice monkey flip out of the corner, and a drop toe hold is blocked. A really awkward spot, actually. A forearm comes off the ropes, and she goes for the satellite again, presumably going for the Pixie Hollow, but it gets turned around into a side backbreaker from the boss to get a 2 on Alexa Bliss. Slams her face first to the canvas, And Sasha Banks locks her in the La Tapatia, the Mexican surfboard, and then she drops it to where she's stretching her grounded on the canvas, and then pulls on the hair for good measure, and then kicks her in the upper back. Makes a cover 1-2, and Alexa Bliss kicks out. So Summer Rae and Charlotte are jawing back and forth at ringside, and this basically gets Sasha momentarily distracted, and that allows for Alexa Bliss to O'Connor roll up, Sasha Banks for the 1-2-3. So after the match is over, Summer Rae ends up slapping Charlotte in the face. Sasha tries to play peacekeeper, and of course, that doesn't work very well, and Summer ends up leaving with the NXT Women's Champion and Sasha Banks in tow. So obviously there is trouble in paradise between the beautiful, fierce females. Definitely leading towards something drastic happening. I do know for a fact this does explode finally, but it's not on television yet, so I can't really talk about it. Obviously, I try to talk about NXT to stuff I've seen on television, like superstars that haven't debuted yet. I don't want to talk about that yet. Obviously, there's something that's going to be happening with Colin Cassidy in the near future, but I can't really talk about that because it's not on television yet, so I'm not going to mention that. So, Tyson is in the back getting ready, apparently for his match, teaming with Sami Zayn later tonight against who knows who they're going to face off. I know who they are, but obviously it's going to be the Ascension. But I mean, she just said she wanted opportunity for Tyson. And Tyson's like, what are you doing? Last week you cost me the championship, and Natty basically said, you know what? Using a chair in a match is an automatic disqualification, so use your head. And lose the attitude. Basically, Tyson turns it back around on his wife and says, you know what? I could have done this on my own. I need your help. I need you to go to JBL. It's condescending Tyson right here. So, basically, he's like, I'm thankful for what you did, but you should have just let me do things on my own. So we get some black and white footage, like shot with an old-timey camera, and it's the first time we see Simon Gotch. First time I've seen Simon Gotch on television. Obviously, last week he did show up. He was carrying things with Aiden English, and this time the version I saw did not have it on there. It's very silent film style, very film noir, and they basically say that they are the vaudevillains, and they are the best ever. They yell Excelsior, and yes, there's a silver lining to this. And they laugh maniacally, and of course it's really great because like an old-timey movie, like the mouth motions do not match what is being said. It's kind of like a second off, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, that was our vaudevillains, which they're not going to be called the vaudevillians, they're going to be called the vaudevillains, and I think it works really well. I really like this gimmick idea, and I think it's going to work really well. Simon Gotch, to me, looks like an old-school, like, strongman from a circus, and he really, really looks a lot like Justin Long. Not going to lie about that. But yeah, this team's going to be awesome. We get my least favorite superstar in NXT, and that's Mojo Rawley, and he's facing off against Garrett Dillon, who actually doesn't have to wear a Captain Comic suit this week. He's actually in action again, and this is his re-debut on NXT and his re-debut, official in-ring debut on the WWE Network. Well, the thing about this match is Garrett Dillon basically has the advantage for a while, and he works over Mojo, and it's awesome because Mojo sucks. And basically, he locks on an abdominal stretch, and of course, Mojo hip tosses out of it, whip in, and using his football background with a shoulder tackle, 2 splashes in the corner, hits his version of the rear view, hyperdrive, 1, 2, 3, yes. So, yeah. Mojo wins again. Wonderful. So, of course, in the back, we have Sami Zayn and Tyson Kidd talking over strategy, if you will, for their match this evening. Sami says, this is our redemption. We're going to redeem ourselves tonight. And Tyson's like, this is the restart. This is where it begins again. So, obviously, they're going to try to get back their former glory since the fact that they're on quite a losing streak at this point. So, of course, we pan to the crowd and we see our favorite hippie looking like Carlito in this case, and that is CJ Parker. And the signs are getting more... They're getting Lodi-like, to be totally honest. I definitely think this is a nice little shout-out to Lodi. And one side says, kilowatt, light a candle, which is hilarious. And the other side says, eat local, think global. So yes, I really like this this gimmick, and I think that it's going to work really well. I didn't like CJ Parker when he was pandering to the crowd, but now he's a heel. I like it. It works a lot better. It helps his Wonderlust, so I think it'll be pretty cool. Get our next match. It is the in-ring debut of the Vaudevillains, Simon Gotch and the Artiste Aiden English, taking on the superstars on NXT that show up periodically. That's Angelo Dawkins and Travis Tyler. This match is a tag match, and it is started off before the match even starts with like an old-timey bullhorn, like one of those circular bullhorns. It kind of looks like a cylinder, and they used to use a lot in like sports, I guess you would say, but it's old school vaudeville basically is what it is, and the mic is actually held up to it. So it was pretty cool, and it's the announcement that the Vaudevillains have entered. And then this really awesome, old-timey, silent film-style music. It felt like Buster Keaton should just walk right by at this point. Or Charlie Chaplin. I could imagine either one at this point. And very Marx Brothers. So yeah, I dropped a bunch of names there. I need to probably pick those up. So we got midway through this match, and there's a snapmare on Travis Tyler and a hammerlock grapevine on the arm with the feet instead of an arm. So it's like a hammerlock with the feet and a stomp to the arm, tagging to Aiden English. He has a knee strike, and then he stops the tag, and he does like Hindu squats. It's pretty interesting, like Hindu squats from Simon Gotch, and Gotch hits the Finley roll, and Aiden goes off the middle rope with a swanton, and they get the wins. After the match is over, they bow, and then they shake hands, and it was really awesome. The crowd was in full sail chanting, like, put your dukes up and stuff like that. It was really nice to see this. The strongman, Simon Gotch, also looks a little bit like the strongman from Lanuba, if you guys are fans from Cirque du Soleil at Downtown Disney. So yeah, that was pretty cool, and I think there will be nothing but great things for Simon Gotch and Aiden English in the near future in NXT. I think you're looking at your next NXT Tag Team Champions once they get the titles off the Ascension. Or maybe they're the ones that take the titles off the Ascension and send them to the WWE to feud with the Wyatt family when they take the titles off the Usos. I think that's probably the direction I would go with this. Unless you want to bring the Wyatts down to basically do what happened with Public Enemy and the Dudley Boys in ECW, that kind of fell through because the Public Enemy decided they didn't want to really work the feud. So you basically have the top tag team in NXT Pass, which are the Wyatt family, and the top tag team of the current NXT brand, which is the Ascension. And you have them go at it, and you could really do something with that. I think that would be a good idea. And maybe have Harper and Rowan take the NXT tag titles back, and then they could face the Ascension, and then they could like trade titles back and forth and be a good feud. I think that'd be a great idea. Either way, I'd say the Vaudevillains are definitely going to be easily one of your next tag team champions in NXT, and I think that's the right direction to go. We get Colin Cassidy in the back with Devin Taylor, and of course, he says, you know what, I know I've been on a roll lately, but something's been missing, and he starts singing That's, and then he stops, and then he walks away, which basically means that very soon Enzo Amore will be returning to action on NXT, and we're going to get the band back together. It'd be pretty awesome. I wrote on here, I said, that's Amore, ... Enzo back! Exclamation point. So yeah, that's how I write notes for these shows. Rob Van Dam shows up right after the commercial break, and he's also talking to Devin. He's like, you know what, I've seen the talent go through Raw and SmackDown, and when it comes down to it, I want to see what NXT has to offer, so you know what, I'm going to challenge the NXT champion. So he challenges Adrian Neville, and it's made an announcement later on in the evening that Neville has accepted, and this week, in a couple of days, you will see Adrian Neville defend the NXT Championship against Rob Van Dam. It's funny because he calls himself Mr. Thursday Night here instead of Mr. Monday Night, which is an inside joke that basically I know through people that I no longer talk to anymore. So it's really interesting to say that. Okay, back in the day, there was this thing that a lot of people did called E-Fed Wrestling, and there was a Rob Van Dam ripoff in this E-Fed I was in. His name was Kerry Zlizey, and he was Mr. Thursday Night. So I think it's hilarious that he's calling him, Rob Van Dam himself is calling himself Mr. Thursday Night, when the Rob Van Dam ripoff of the E-Fed called himself Mr. Thursday Night. I thought that was funny, and the only problem is the only people that are going to get that reference I don't talk to anymore, so that's... I know it's a lost opportunity, but if anybody remembers Kerry Zlizey from an E-Fed, then yeah. So yeah, there's always that. We got our next match of the evening. It is your semi-main event, and what a match this was. This is the #1 contender to the NXT Championship, Prince Pretty himself, Tyler Breeze, taking on Kalisto. This match was awesome in every single way possible. We come back from commercial break, and Breeze nails a jawbreaker, and he boots Kalisto in the corner, and he stomps away, makes a quick cover, only gets a 1 off of it. Locks in a front face lock, and he picks him up, a knee lift, and basically Kalisto is dropped. He goes over to try to check on him to pick him up to try to take advantage again, and Kalisto with the pop-up into a Rana, makes a 2 out of that, hooks both legs, only gets a 2 off of it. Nails a flying forearm off the ropes, and the mounted punches from Tyler Breeze, makes a cover again, only gets a 2. And he makes a cover again, still gets a 2. He makes a cover one more time, still gets a 2. So he picks him up, clubs him in the lower back, and he locks on the front face lock again. He turns it into a side headlock, and he rams him hard in the middle buckle. It's basically a bulldog in the middle buckle. So he gets knocked to the side, underneath the bottom rope, so he's laying on the ring apron. Tyler Breeze goes over, and Kalisto back kicks him into the side, and a springboard into the flying body press connects, and double downs. So both men are down at this point, and they're both up at the 10 count. So there's a roll up from on Breeze, and of course that gets turned around into the back kick, and that gets a 2 off of that. Charges in, and he backdrops Kalisto over the top rope, lands on the ring apron. He goes to the top rope. He cartwheels off, lands on his feet. He ducks Tyler Breeze's right hand, comes off the ropes. He puts on the brakes. He charges in to the boot from Kalisto. Kalisto is hanging on the ropes right now. So he charges in, and Breeze makes him eat the beauty shot. 1, 2, 3, and Tyler Breeze wins this match. I really enjoyed this contest. Nice back and forth, and I really enjoyed the finish of this match, actually. It came out of nowhere, but I think it worked really well, and it was really good to build up Tyler Breeze's credibility, if it hasn't built up already, with that phenomenal match with Sami Zayn, where he got this #1 contendership back at TakeOver. So yes, I really am a big fan of Tyler Breeze, obviously you can tell, and I really think that Breeze has a bright, bright future in WWE before this year is over. I think he'll be another person that gets brought up. Here's the issue though. Obviously, you have all these call-ups from NXT currently on television right now. Now, there's an issue with this. Eventually you're going to have to stop calling people up because you're not going to have anybody else. But WWE, I'm sure, will cycle people through, and they'll keep people in NXT, and they'll keep NXT a viable brand. Because NXT, for all intents and purposes, actually is a third brand of the company. Obviously, Raw and SmackDown, Raw and SmackDown are split up via a draft that they pretty much no longer adhere to. Basically, anybody can be on Raw and SmackDown. NXT is a completely different animal. There are people that guest star on NXT sometimes from the main roster, and they're basically working matches with the superstars that are going to be brought up sooner rather than later. I remember the awesome match that Sheamus had with Luke Harper before the Wyatt family got brought up to television. So yeah, there was some interesting stuff there, and obviously the feud with Cesaro and Sami Zayn is legendary. So yes, that's what we have here, and let's go to our main event. Our main event is Sami Zayn and Tyson Kidd taking on the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions in company's history, Connor and Victor, the Ascension. I really should have got something to drink before I started this. Zayn catches Victor with the high leg lariat, makes a cover, only gets a 1 count off of it. Tagging to Connor, a stiff European uppercut, and the yaw boots in the corner. And tagging to Victor. Victor comes in and goes for a cover right away. Only gets a 2 off of that. Boots in, tagging to Connor. Boots in the corner. The yaw boots, of course, and tagging to Victor. Victor gets elbowed out of the corner. So Sami Zayn trying to fight his way out. And gets caught with a backdrop suplex to create separation 1, 2, and a kick out. So Zayn with a forearm. And he stops the whip, and he knocks Connor off the ring apron for good measure, charges into a huge boot in the corner, and he's on the middle rope. The springboard up from the middle rope to the top rope with a flying body press, and Tyson Kidd just bombs out at this point. He's like, you know what, you want to wrestle this match? You can wrestle this match, and he leaves. He leaves Sami Zayn to be the sacrificial lamb, and he tries to fight his way out and a tag into Connor with the Avalanche in the corner, tagging to Victor, Fall of Man, and topple Sami Zayn 1, 2, 3. So the Ascension retain the NXT Tag Team Championships. I will say right now, this is building towards a Sami Zayn-Tyson Kidd feud, and I don't have a problem with that. I think it'd be pretty good. Still want to know who is going to take the Ascension off the pedestal that they're on right now. Who's going to take the NXT Tag Team titles off the Ascension? I think it's the Vaudevillains at this point. I think it's the Vaudevillains. I think it could be Harper and Rowan, if they want to go in that direction. I think they're the only teams that could take it. Dillinger and Jordan, possibly, if they want to go in that direction. They may be, if they're going to push like the White Meat Babyface Rock and Roll Express style tag team. They want to do that. They can do that. But yeah, I don't really think of Jordan and Dillinger as the Rock and Roll Express. I think of them more like the Young Stallions. No offense to Jim Powers and Paul Roma, but they kind of remind me more of the Young Stallions than they do of the Rock and Roll Express. So that was NXT this week. Like I said, storyline progression, of course, the eventual explosion of the beautiful, fierce females is going to happen sooner rather than later, and of course, this will probably lead to Summer Rae jealousy over Charlotte being the NXT Women's Champion. I'm sure they're going to clash somewhere down the road, and I almost guarantee that's going to be the case. Alexa Bliss getting built up really well. I think she's going to be a very viable babyface for the NXT Women's division. I think it's the right direction to go. She's pretty, she's marketable, and she plays really well with the crowd, and she can work. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with her. And, you know, if it was up to me, Mojo Rawley would have already been fired and sent back to football where he belongs. I don't like this guy at all. Garrett Dillon, he had a decent showing. Hopefully when Scott Dawson does come back, they bring Dawson and Dillon back together. And what I would do is I would send Dawson and Dillon, the former D-Squared, after Sylvester Lefort and Marcus Louis. And we do a feud right there between Lefort and his former charges. I think that's a great idea. I think that's actually the direction I would personally go if that was me booking at this point. Mojo Rawley, I would fire him. But no, honestly, if they're going to do anything with Mojo Rawley, and I'm sure they do, I would have honestly had him do something. And I really think, you see matches like this on this show, especially like the Tyler Breeze and Kalisto match, you really need a secondary championship, a secondary singles championship in NXT. I don't necessarily know what it would be. Like I said, the FCW 10 championship or an internet championship, just something. WWE Network Championship, anything. NXT Television Championship. I don't know what you would call it, but you need a secondary championship for other people to fight for. But then again, it's probably a lot more prestigious in NXT given the fact that everyone on the roster is fighting for the NXT Championship. And that basically means that there's a lot of muddy waters here because obviously you have to have everybody fighting for one title, except for the tag team division, and they're still fighting for the world title as well, so who knows, we're going to go with that. I did enjoy that. The Vaudevillains are phenomenal. I cannot wait to see more from them. Aiden English, once you get a t-shirt, obviously I will be owning it. And interesting to see the big cast is hinting toward the return of Enzo Amore. Rob Van Dam decides he wants Adrian Neville. That's going to happen this week. Looking forward to that. Should be a good match. Tyler Breeze and Kalisto had a really awesome match. And, you know, the Ascension and Sami Zayn and Tyson Kidd was okay. Obviously, Kidd's heel turn is going to lead him with a feud with Sami Zayn. No issues at all with that. So that was NXT for this week. Last week, sorry. For this video is what I wanted to say. Let's roll into SmackDown. Of course, we roll into SmackDown with, obviously, you know my feed is from another country, so we start off with a match, and that is Seth Rollins against Kofi Kingston. Seth Rollins looked like he's getting ready to play some laser tag. Yeah, I know a lot of comparisons they've had. They've been talking a lot about like Power Rangers and the Dark Knight and all sorts of different things they've mentioned. Mad Max. Yeah, to me it looks like Seth Rollins wants to play some really awesome hardcore laser tag. So yes, this match is really short, but I'd like to see these two in a longer match, a much longer match. Rollins catches Kofi with a flatliner to the middle buckle and a snapmare into the rear chin lock. Kofi escapes and, of course, gets backdropped, lands on his feet, ducks Rollins' clothesline, comes off the ropes, and, of course, his normal offense. Double chop, standing drop kick, leaping clothesline is ducked by Rollins, and he eats a boot there, and he charges in to, of course, the upside-down kick from Kofi, and a springboard and a flying body press catches Rollins, only gets a 2 off of that. Spinning back kick by Rollins stops momentum. straight kick to the chest, and a spinning back kick again, goes for the turnbuckle powerbomb, gets countered, goes through the legs, and a Rana snap out of nowhere from Kofi. Trouble in Paradise finds nothing but getting crotched up in the top rope, and Rollins pounds on his head for a good measure, turnbuckle powerbomb into the curb stomp, 1, 2, 3, and Rollins wins this match and makes himself officially the first competitor in the Money in the Bank briefcase ladder match. So that is going to be happening. They're going to be having 2 Money in the Bank matches, both with 7 guys. So that's 14 guys in an entire show that are already out of commission, that you can't do anything else with them, and you need to build a card around the rest of the roster. So it looks like a lot of superstars that may not normally get a payday out of this definitely will, because they're going to have to pad the rest of the show. Rollins, of course, makes a guarantee he's going to win the briefcase. Dean Ambrose shows up on the Tron and basically says, you need to watch your back constantly because I'm coming for you and you never know when it's going to happen. Rollins basically says, you know what, once you come down here right now, it's too bad you have a match with the Demon Kane tonight, because if you didn't, I'm sure I'd gladly kick your teeth down your throat. And Ambrose is like, shh, no, stop it. He Barry and Levon's him. He says, you know what, I don't even believe you at all. As a matter of fact, just stop talking right now. Pretty much already signed your death warrant. After I beat Kane, I'm coming after you. So yeah, Ambrose on a collision course with his former Shield brethren, and it's going to be awesome. They're both most likely going to end up in the Money in the Bank briefcase match, and I'm pretty sure they'll face each other at Battleground, and then maybe one more time at SummerSlam, potentially. Maybe let's do a match at Battleground, do a match at SummerSlam. I have a feeling that Rollins moves on to something else by Survivor Series. That's a guess. I don't know, maybe Night of Champions. That depends. Yeah, there you go. 3 matches, Battleground, SummerSlam, Night of Champions, and then by Survivor Series, Rollins moves on to something else. But either way, he definitely has hell to pay, courtesy of Dean Ambrose, and eventually, he's going to have to face off with Roman Reigns, and it's going to be glorious. So, the actual show starts off with John Cena, and John Cena gives us a history lesson about why the championships are now vacant. He says he's going to walk out of Money in the Bank saying the champ is here. Here comes Alberto Del Rio. He says, people don't worry about me. You know, I was the first man to qualify, and I'll be the first to climb the ladder to win the championship. I will make you remember just how dangerous I am. Sheamus comes out and basically says, you know what? It's not that we don't know you're dangerous. Basically, the crowd and we just don't care about you. There's always a little truth in everything, isn't it? The biggest challenge in that ring is going to be Sheamus, is what he says. He says he's going to be a double champion fella. Here comes Cesaro with Paul Heyman. Doesn't have to say a word. Heyman says his words for him. He says, I guarantee the new champion will be any one of you. My strategy is proven. Of course, he is the 1-21-1, and obviously, he is the reason that Brock Lesnar conquered The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania, as we've heard so many times. And this strategy is also going to lead to a brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and that will be the Swiss Superman, Cesaro. Roman Reigns comes to the crowd to the new version of the Shield theme, and he says, I've had a lot of trust issues lately, obviously, but all that matters now is that championship. Not a man in this ring is going to stop me now. He gets up in Cena's face, and takes off his shirt like he wants to fight, and here comes Randy Orton. Randy Orton says, you know what, I'm not in that ring right now. You're not going to run through anybody, especially me. As a matter of fact, the championships are coming home to yours truly. So Reigns comes out, him and Orton start brawling, and Cena and Sheamus end up brawling with Cesaro and Del Rio in the inside of the ring, and of course, they toss Cesaro and Del Rio out, and the heels powder, and we get our main event, which is going to be a 4-on-3 handicap match. It is John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Sheamus against Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, as well as Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, who was obviously not out for this. Why aren't these eight-man matches instead of 7? I always thought it made no sense that you do a Money in the Bank match with 7 people. Obviously, you have one person that has to be down the whole time. One person has to be not doing anything the whole time, unless there's double teams or triple teams or quadruple teams. Or I believe it's sextuple teams for 5. I might be wrong about that. Who knows? But either way, I think you should do this as an 8-man instead of a 7-man. I think 7 is one person too many. Or, yeah, one person too many but one person too many or one person not enough. It should be 6 or it should be 8. It should not be 7. 7 makes no sense. That's like running 9 Best Picture nominees. Obviously, we only should have 5, but... Or we possibly have 10, but no, we run 9 because I couldn't figure out a last one, even though there definitely was one. But that's the thing right here. There could be an 8th combatant in this match, and it should be Seth Rollins. But no, they don't do that. They do 7 on 7. They do 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches with 7 people, and I just think that's just, it's dumb. I think there needs to be one more person, or they need to subtract one person from that match. So yeah, that's what we got. So, second match. Technically, it was the third match on the show, but third segment on the show, but we'll add to it. It is Bad News Barrett in a non-title match against Dolph Ziggler. So, of course, this match was good for what it was. And Ziggler, of course, is in his home state at this point. Obviously, we're in Columbus for Smackdown this week. The same very arena that yours truly, along with Will and, at that time, Alan, shot the videos to start what became Pop. So obviously we have some history at the Nationwide Arena. Obviously we haven't been able to go to these last 2 shows. The last one was a SmackDown house show, and this one was a SmackDown taping. Hopefully Columbus is getting a pay-per-view soon, but if the crowd was any indication, maybe not. I will say right now the crowd sucked in Columbus, and I've heard a lot of great crowd reactions. The 2 Raws we went to, phenomenal crowd reaction. The SmackDown we went to, not so great. And this one just did not come off very well on television, so there's always that. So we join us from commercial break, and Barrett's got a chin lock, and of course Dolph punches his way out, whipping a tip up from Dolph, and it gets countered into a field goal kick. Obviously it's World Cup season, so Barrett has to utilize the field goal kick even more so than normal. Makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. He chokes him on the middle rope, and he ties him up in the ropes for the repeated knee strikes, and the big boot knocks Dolph through the ropes to the floor. So he whips him hard into the barricade, into Justin Roberts' land, and he tosses him in, makes a cover 1-2, and a kick out. So he locks on a grounded abdominal stretch, and Dolph creates separation with a jawbreaker, and he charges in to Dolph's back elbow, the crossbody off the ropes, into the punches from Dolph from the side, and he goes with a clothesline with fire and intensity. Of course, he gets caught with the winds of change, 1-2, and a kick out. Barrett readies the bullhammer, Dolph ducks out of the way, the 10 punch, and it gets countered into a powerbomb from Barrett. Barrett, of course, is getting pounded away at the top of the head. Dolph flips forward into a sunset flip, 1-2-3, and Dolph Ziggler defeats the Intercontinental Champion in a non-title match, thus proving the fact that if Barrett and Ziggler are not involved in the Money in the Bank briefcase match, they will be facing off against one another for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank next Sunday. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly the direction we're going to go. And we'll probably get a little bit more to see what direction we're actually going to be going tonight on Raw. So we get our next match. It is Adam Rose, of course, with the Rosebuds taking on Titus O'Neil. And Titus just goes right to work on Rose. Clubs in the corner, and he misses a charge, he gets rolled up from behind, 1-2-3, and Adam Rose wins. So basically, Titus says he wasn't ready, he calls foul, and he wants a piece of Adam Rose. Rose, of course, obliges him, he gets in the ring, a big right hand, and this basically just infuriates Titus. He runs up, and of course, a nice roll-up from Adam Rose, and he wins again in combined match time, about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and Adam Rose wins twice over Titus O'Neil, so I don't think we see it. We might see a rematch of this tonight. I think we'll see a Barrett-Ziggler rematch on Raw tonight. I almost guarantee that happens. But I don't know if we'll get an Adam Rose-Titus O'Neil rematch. Potentially, they usually like to do the rematches on SmackDown because, unfortunately, not enough people watch SmackDown, so they probably haven't seen it. This is the match I don't want to see again. It's Dean Ambrose against Kane. It's not a bad match. It's just I don't have any interest in seeing it again. So, we go midway through this match, Ambrose with a missile drop kick, and he ends up hitting the jawbreaker lariat midway through the match, and the mounted punches on Kane, a front drop kick knocks Kane back in the corner, 10 punch, stopped at 7, and Kane with a goozle, it gets countered into a tornado DDT from Ambrose, 1-2, and a kick out. Seth Rollins, of course, is on commentary during this match. He stands up for a distraction, and Kane sees this opportunity. He charges in. Ambrose catches him out of the corner of his eye. Low bridge. Kane goes over the top rope to the floor. Kane nailed with a tope, and Ambrose leaps over the announce table and attacks Seth Rollins. He dives off the table into a choke thrust from Kane. Kane tosses him in, makes Ambrose eat the choke slam, 1, 2, 3, and Kane wins. After the match is over, Rollins lays his former partner out with the curb stomp, and that's the end. So, more build for Ambrose and Rollins battling it out at, presumably, Battleground. We get our next match. It is Big E against Jack Swagger. Zeb Coulter basically trying to say that Big E is in cahoots with Lana, and that's the reason why last week happened. And Big E comes out and basically just lets his fists do the talking here. The match starts real fast. This is a fast-paced match real quick because they have less than 5 minutes to do it. The diving clip and the knees in the corner from Swagger, and a clothesline sends Big E over the top to the floor, tosses him back in, whip in, he misses the charge, Vader attack off the ropes, big ending, 1, 2, 3, and Big E steamrolls Swagger onto his next opponent, which of course is going to be that match against Rusev I talked about. I don't know if this is going to be the okay, that's what I'm thinking. I think Rusev and Big E is the Money in the Bank kickoff match, and I think that's going to be announced tonight on Raw. That's what I'm thinking. I might be wrong, but I do think that Big E and Rusev is going to be announced for the event itself for Sunday. Whether it's on the kickoff, whether it's on the actual pay-per-view. Obviously, they're going to have to do something with it, because obviously they have 14 guys that are worked into 2 ladder matches. So you need to do something with the rest of the talent. I think there's almost a guarantee this will happen. So yeah, you don't have 3-man band, and you have, obviously, Fernando is injured right now from the Matadors, so can't do anything with that. And you have no direction to go with that, so obviously Big E and Rusev will be a match they do. I really think they do the flag match. If they don't do it tonight on Raw, which they could, I do think it ends up on a pay-per-view, whether it's Money in the Bank or whether it's Battleground. It's so weird that it's almost July. It's just crazy. We're a couple days from July. This year's gone by so fast. I'm so happy for that. So Fandango is waiting to go out, of course, on Layla, and Layla's taking her sweet time. This allows for Summer Rae to show up and apologize to her former dance partner and former partner in life. And basically, she says she didn't treat him right, and, you know, when it all comes down to it, you made the right decision because Layla does truly love you, but she doesn't love you like I always will. And, of course, she puts a big lip lock on Fandango. Layla opens the door at the right opportune time, and, of course, creates an issue, and that's the end. She basically just goes in the room, sulks, and that's over. So we get Bo Dallas coming out. He is now 7-0, and he's taking on Fandango. He used to be huge in Columbus, and I could vouch for this, but the crowd on SmackDown just sucked. I'm sorry. If you guys were in the crowd with me on the Raws that Fandango was at, you would know that he was extremely over. Sorry, Will. It's the truth. You can even admit it yourself. But yeah, this was kind of there. Like I said, this crowd sucked. Layla came out before the match started. Of course, Fandango came out by himself, and when he got in the ring, he really didn't do much dancing. Summer Rae came down and tried to be his dance partner. Layla came out, tagged her. That pretty much allowed for a nice little cat fight on the floor. Layla accidentally slapped Fandango, and then Summer Rae tries to get pulled off, and Layla ends up high-kicking Fandango. The bell has already sounded, so obviously this match is still going on, which hasn't even really done anything yet. Bo and Fandango are watching this, and of course, Bo helps Fandango up, headlock, swinging Bodog, and that's the end. So Bo Dallas wins in a quick fashion in what I really wouldn't even call a match. He does his victory lap after the match is over. He gets on the mic and says, "There are plenty of fish in the sea, and one day you'll catch the right one. All you have to do is Bo leave." So, of course, he hugs Fandango, and he does his victory lap yet again, and that's the end of the segment. I think this is a rematch on Raw tonight. I really do think that happens. Was way too short. I'd like to see these two in a longer match. I think we actually might get a longer match on Raw tonight. I could be wrong. Main event time. It is a 4-on-3 handicap match. It is Cesaro, Randy Orton, Alberto Del Rio, and Bray Wyatt taking on John Cena, Sheamus, and Roman Reigns. But of course, before that happens, Bray of course has to have his awesome promo for the evening. And it goes as something like this. The nature of man has always fascinated me. I mean, look at y'all running around like a bunch of blind mice chasing after a piece of cheese. Or riddle me this. What shall happen when the snake enters the maze? I'll play your childish little game for now, boys, but let it be known that I am the king. I am the designer of chaos. I decide who does what and where they do it. I deal the cards. The world spins on axis above my jagged teeth, and when I clamp down, believe me, this world will shake. And at Money in the Bank, I will put an end to this childlike charade. All I have to do is climb up that ladder and take what is mine. We have exited the laws of reality, children. Enter the era of Wyatt. Run. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff as always. Love these promos from Bray Wyatt. They're phenomenal. Main event time, and we start right into it. We go right to a commercial break, and I'm going to pick it up from that. So right after the commercial break, Del Rio, the snap suplex on Sheamus, gets a 1 count out of it. A chin lock is applied. Sheamus punches his way out, and a kick to the chest. Gets caught with a Finley roll to Del Rio. Del Rio tags out to Orton, and hot tag to John Cena. He comes in, shoulder block, ducks the right hand, protobomb, 5-knuckle shuffle, and he goes for the AA. Orton grabs the ropes, and he basically goes over the top of the floor. There's a standoff with all the heels, and Cena, of course, Sheamus, and Roman Reigns come over to even it out, and of course, everybody starts to brawl. Orton and Cena are now the legal men, and Orton hits the snakebite DDT on Cena in the ring. Boots in the corner and attacking to Bray Wyatt. Big right hand drops Cena. Avalanche in the corner. Charges in with the avalanche. Cena gets the boot up and catches Cena off with the Uranagi 1-2 and a kick out. Tagging to Del Rio. Punches away on Cena. Misses the Del Rio slide like always. And Cesaro helps Del Rio into the ring before Cena can make the hot tag in. Del Rio comes in and tags Randy Orton. Orton catches him with a snap Samoa Joe style power slam 1-2 and a kick out. The mounted punches and a stomp right to the forehead, tagging to Cesaro. He comes in with a Swiss uppercut and a nice tribute to the late, great Davey Boy Smith with a hanging vertical suplex, 1-2, and a kick out. Or the late, great Chris Candido, depending on who you're calling your match. Actually, I think since it's Cesaro, I think it might have been Candido, to be honest. Probably both Davey Boy Smith and Chris Candido, because they both did a really nice hanging vertical suplex back in the day. Leaping double stomp does connect 1-2 and a kick out. A chin lock turned into a side headlock, vicious side headlock. Cesaro using all his strength at this point. Countered with a backdrop suplex, which creates separation. And Cena tossed up in the air. Swiss death 1-2 and a kick out. Big gut shot and a right hand drops Cena like a bad habit. Tagging to Del Rio. He comes in, runs up with a step up enziguri kick 1-2. Cena kicks out. He goes up top, and Cena with a Pillman counter with a drop kick, obviously when the guy leaps off the top, if you don't know what I'm talking about there. A drop kick to the knee from Del Rio, and stuns Cena with a GSK, 1-2, and a kick out. Tagging to Cesaro, he comes in and boots Sheamus off the ring apron for good measure, glares at Roman Reigns, and gets caught with a back body drop of sorts from Cena, and the hot tag to Roman Reigns, tagging to Del Rio, and a clothesline. Whip in reverse, ducks Del Rio's clothesline, comes off, leaping clothesline, charges in with a clothesline in the corner, and he knocks to where Del Rio is precariously placed, his neck on the bottom rope, and of course we're going to the leaping dropkick to the side of the head. This gets stopped by Bray Wyatt intervening, and a right hand would get stopped by an uppercut, sends Bray Wyatt down, and this allows for the leaping dropkick to the side of the head of Del Rio. Cesaro swings on Sheamus, and Sheamus ducks, and clotheslines Cesaro to the ground. Roman Reigns goes for the Superman punch. Orton jumps up on the ring apron for the distraction. This allows for Roman Reigns to get temporarily distracted. When Del Rio charges in, Reigns gets the elbow up, and a Samoan drop is countered with a big right hand from Bray Wyatt, and Roman stuns Bray, knocks him off the ring apron with a huge Superman punch. RKO from Orton, gets thrown off and basically tossed to the outside. Del Rio goes for the cross arm breaker, gets countered, big spear, 1-2-3, and Roman Reigns wins this match for John Cena and Sheamus. I enjoyed this match. I did enjoy this match. A version of this on Raw tonight, I doubt it, but it'd be pretty cool if they do that. Maybe some sort of a different match on Raw tonight. Maybe, honestly, in this match, I would probably do Cena, Sheamus, and Reigns against Cesaro, Orton, and Bray Wyatt tonight. That's what I would do. Have Del Rio involved some way. Or you can do this as an 8-man and get another babyface with Cena, Sheamus, and Reigns, and you do it that direction. That's also a possibility, but I don't think they're going to go in that direction because you really don't have a major babyface you can put in that group. Not right now. So yeah, that was SmackDown. What I'd recommend on this show, Kofi and Seth Rollins was good for what it was. It was way, way too short. Barrett and Ziggler, I enjoyed it like I always do. And I will say that everything else pretty much is a skip, except for the main event, which is really good. So yeah, check that out if you get a chance to. So what's going to happen on Raw tonight? Obviously, there's going to be a firing of Vicky Guerrero, which is going to happen. And that will basically be because Roman Reigns not only got himself into the Money in the Bank title match at the pay-per-view on Sunday, this was because of Vicky basically saying, you know what, fine, you have it. But yeah, there's going to be hell to pay for Vicky tonight from Triple H and Stephanie. Guarantee that happens, and I guarantee there's going to be a firing tonight. What's going to happen? Are there going to be any qualifying matches? There has to be qualifying matches for the Money in the Bank ladder match that involves the briefcase. So I think those, we have, excuse me, you have to have 6 matches. You have 3 on Raw, 3 on SmackDown, and that will determine who goes on to be involved in the briefcase ladder match at Money in the Bank on Sunday. So that'll be pretty good. Obviously, we're going to continue the Dean Ambrose-Seth Rollins rivalry. More stuff from Bo Dallas. What's going to happen with Fandango, Summer Rae, and Layla in that love triangle there. Big E and Rusev going to square off tonight. I'm pretty sure they're going to have some sort of an altercation of some sort. So what's going to happen with Adam Rose? Adam Rose is going to be on the show tonight. Pretty sure that's going to happen. And everybody that's involved in the Money in the Bank Championship ladder match, I'm sure there's going to be matches with them. Like I said before, I think that 6-man's a good idea. And have Del Rio involved against something else in that show. That's what I would do if it was me. So, that was SmackDown NXT for this past week. Wrestling fans, join me tomorrow for Raw. We're going to talk Raw. And of course, if you're a TNA fan, rejoice, because obviously I brought TNA back to pop with Slammiversary last week. I'm going to talk about Impact from last Thursday night on Wednesday. And this Thursday night, it looks like we're going to go back to Impact as well for this week. That's not a guarantee, but I'm looking into it right now. It most likely will happen. So, of course, NXT and SmackDown next week will be covered, as well as Raw and Money in the Bank, the pay-per-view. I'm going to be talking about that. And, of course, regular pop videos. We're going to have Halloween Horror Nights video probably coming sometime this week. Ashley's Popcaster from Across the Pond segment is going to be coming on Saturday. AJ's movie reviews, we're going to talk a little Transformers and a lot of other things as well. And a new spoiler alert is coming. Our most anticipated for the rest of the year is coming. Our best of the half year is coming. Our worst of the half year is coming. All that stuff is coming, as well as a brand new Versus coming this week as well. Very gangster heavy. So yes, there's a lot of awesome content still to come on Pop this week. And if you like these videos, tell your friends about them. Leave a comment. Do subscribe. Help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, like our Facebook fan page. It is Sir Owen Disney Pop on Facebook. Send me a friend request on Facebook. I'll be your friend. It's Owen Disney. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. And last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions. If you'd like to become a Popcaster yourself, you want to send your videos, or if you'd like to just chat with me, ask me questions I never answer in a million years on here for good reason, then you're more than welcome to send me an email, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.